Hey guys, great to be back with you again for another episode of Saab Talk Live. If you're new here, we get together about every Thursday evening at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, hang out for half an hour or so live on Facebook and YouTube, and talk about the cars we love. My name's Lee Kelso.
My name is Mark Romisher, and we bring a show tonight for you to complement what we've learned about some Saabs recently. Also, we have a guest who's going to show us a little bit about some Saab restoration and what it takes to bring a classic Saab and some modern classic Saabs back onto the road.
You know, we were just saying a moment ago that Saab seems to be having a bit of a moment.
hmm
Prices have been up on Bring a Trailer. There's some more
hmm
attention that seems to be coming our way. And Mark, this week somehow a YouTube video found me that is kind of like from the Wayback Machine. Let's just hit it and then we'll talk about it in a second.
So fast, you own the road. So sleek, the wind bows to you. So safe, peace of mind is yours. Get 0% financing for 60 months on remaining '07 Saabs. Lease new 2008 Saab 9.3 sedans starting at $359 a month with scheduled maintenance at no charge. Because when you're born from jets, the rest seem, well, inadequate.
Brown, you love the service.
So that's from a dealership, back, what was it? They said new 0708s. But I
Oh
thought that was
yeah,
pretty cool the way they were positioning our cars. That was pretty neat.
that's cool. I mean, if we can go ahead and rent out an air hangar and go ahead and take a couple cool shots in front of an airplane, why not, right? I
Why
mean,
not?
that'd be the way to go. But yeah, it just goes to show that even back in the late 2000s, I mean, the Saab enthusiasm was still alive. I mean,
Hmm.
seeing these cars in dealerships at one point in time was just, I wish I would have been there earlier to see that in person, but unfortunately, I'm just being late to the Saab game myself. But what a sight to see.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And I'm seeing some messages pop up here for us. Guys, you are welcome to join us with questions,
Mhm.
comments, and on the chat. It'll be up on the screen for
Absolutely.
you through the evening. And yeah, please do participate. We love hearing from everybody all around the world here. And we're going to get some questions to our guest, Ian Cudney from Peterson Automotive in Chicago in just a minute. Got one more
hmm
thing I want to show you before we bounce out there. And that
hmm
is this. Found this website that was kind of cool. It's hotcars.com. And the headline is Cool Cars from the 90s That Are Now Dirt Cheap. So they list, 10 cars here from the 90s. And so, here's this Benz S-Class. That's pretty
hmm
cool. I could dig one of those. Mark, what do you think of this
Ford
SHO?
Ford Taurus SHO, it was a gem back in the day, and I'm sure they're pretty rare to find nowadays. But it's a pretty cool car. Had a Yamaha engine. Interesting, interesting.
Yeah, I think so too. The Boxster, well, enough said. I'd take one of those, wouldn't you?
Can't go wrong with a Porsche, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, Corvette. That's a classic American muscle car. Can't go wrong with the Corvette. It's
Mhm.
such a fun car and easy to form. Camaro, it's
Yeah.
it's it's that late style, just not
I'm
for
with
everyone.
you.
But
Eh, an Aston
oh,
Martin, yeah, a $16,000 Aston Martin. Yeah, what do you might as well pick up a gun and put it against your head. When that 12 cylinder goes bad, you're just going to wish you could pull the trigger, right?
oh man, it's going to cost you a small mortgage to fix that thing with all the crazy part prices.
Oh, no kidding. The Mazda series, yeah, the
hmm
RX-7, man, those things killed me in autocross. They were vicious.
Oh
Great
yeah,
little cars.
definitely fun to drive for sure. It's like little go-karts, those things.
Yeah. Well, here's the real go-kart, right? The
Oh
MX-5.
right,
Holy cow.
Miata. Yeah,
Yeah.
Miata's always been that favorite car that small guys get into. I could never fit in one. That thing's so small.
Yeah, they're pretty small and light. Number two. Now this one, yeah, I can get
Yeah,
down with this.
I definitely have respect for the Nissans from the '90s because I that's when I was growing up in those formative years of auto culture, and I got to say that it was definitely nice seeing those on the road more often back then.
Yeah, turbo one of these was just a lot of fun. But hey, check out what's
Mhm.
number one.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah. So
the
these guys
classic
are.
Saab 900.
So this hotcars.com website calling the Saab 900 here the number one car from the 90s that you've just got to own, and that is
hmm
pretty cool. nice to see that kind of respect. And there's a place in Chicago that really kind
Absolutely.
of goes a long way to bringing those Saabs from the 90s back, and it is Peterson Automotive. And so we're going to jump out there live now and talk with Ian Cudney from Peterson. Hey, Ian, thanks for bumping in here.
Hey, Ian.
Hi, how's it going? Welcome. Good evening, Lee and Mark.
Great to have you on board. So,
Good, thank you.
you guys, man, Saabs all over the front of your building. That's pretty slick. And we're going to show you some of the restoration work.
That photo, it was a fall afternoon last year, and we just had all the 900s kind of sitting around, and I figured, what better way than showcase what Peterson really is all about than showing all different 900s that are here, and including a 9000 that you see in the background, kind of creeping along in the background. But we get everything from turbos to S's to NA cars to SVGs to 8 valves. I mean, we get it. It's all right in our neighborhood, along with people who are out of state that drive the hours to come to us.
Oh, wow. Now, I see that you have all those different 900s and 9000s. Do you work on any newer Saabs, per se?
We do, yeah. So we work on all different Saabs primarily.
Okay.
Most of our clientele that shows up, they show up in 93s, 95s, the OGs, NGs. That's the primary car that you see out on the street. 94Xs, we have a couple 94Xs that come by, NG 95s, 93Xs. So we do get our majority of the cars that come in here are our newer Saabs. But everybody, all our clientele who have a Saab, doesn't matter pretty much. They all want to keep them on the road and keep them going for as long as possible.
Absolutely. We're going to talk a little bit about the story of this car tonight, Ian. But before we get there, I want to hear a little bit more about your Saab life. So you are the president of the Chicago Area Saab Club, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I joined the club about 8 years ago, and I was just a member, a guy who found out what a Saab was back in 2008. And started reading up on about it, and then realizing, hey, there's a local club that's all about Saabs. Joined the Facebook page of that, and then in 2014, 2015, I purchased my first Saab 900 SPG.
Sweet.
And then after that, the club wasn't doing too well. It was, they would do one event maybe per year, if that. And I got tired of it, and I got tired of not seeing anything happen and flourish with the club. So I went to the people who were running it at the time, and I was like, hey, I want to take over. And they were okay with it. They said, all right, you could get a test run and see what happens. So I came in charge. I hosted the first event under my ruling, you can say, here at Peterson. It was a fall show. Everybody who used to run the club didn't believe that there's going to be people to show up. And that first show, we had 15, 20 cars here.
Great.
And I never turned around. I never looked back. Since that first show, we've grown. We've grown as to who shows up, where we host the shows. Everybody all over the place, they come around. I mean, I got people who I'll host a show, and I'll have Saab enthusiasts drive 3-4 hours just to hang out with us for a couple hours.
That's awesome.
That's great.
And a lot of those people who drive the distance are also the ones who get their car serviced here.
Well,
so it's at the end of the day, it's kind of like a plus that I work here. Not only am I in front of everybody that gets their car serviced here, but I talk to those owners and go, hey, there's a Chicago Saab Club, there's a national Saab Club. We have our postcards here to join the national club. And as you saw probably in the newest issue of the Nines magazine, in the back, they were praising us for having the most people join the national club within the last couple months from starting that. And that's from me pushing new people who have been longtime customers, going, hey, there's more to this than just driving such a unique vehicle around the Chicagoland area.
And there's a little incentive that you've baked into that membership, which is a cool idea, right?
Yeah. So for all of our work that we do here, if you're a National Saab Club member, you get a 10% parts and labor discount on all services.
Yeah, that's nice. That's sweet. That's a good incentive, right?
Yeah. So it helps. The people there's people who ask for discounts, and I go, well, if you join the National Saab Club of North America, this is the incentive you'll get every time you get your car service. And they'll do it. They'll do it right there on the spot in front of me. And I jot it down. I have it written down, each customer, when they started their membership, if it's a 1 year or 2 year membership, so this way we can keep track, and remind them when their membership is about to expire to renew.
That is very cool. I'm so glad. And Sanford Bogage, the president of the Saab Club, and I'm having trouble getting Facebook comments up for some reason, working on that right now, but he says, thank you, we love you, Ian. So that's great, right? That's great.
I love Sandy so much, and he is such an amazing guy, and probably the most perfect guy at this point to be in charge of Saab Club North America.
Yeah. I think they're really rocking it right now. I think they're doing a good job. So let's jump back into some of the work you do. We teased people with this beautiful 900 just a minute ago. It's got an interesting story. Here it is, kind of in process. Tell me what you've done with it.
So this is our good friend of mine / client / Chicago Saab Club member. And now he's on the board with me of the Chicago Saab Club. This is his Saab 900 Turbo. He's had it for several years, and he just loves the car. And he always wants to keep making it better, making it as perfect as possible. And as you can see, the car is beyond perfection, in my opinion. But we continuously service the car. It is probably the nicest 900 that comes through our doors. And it's a really great representation of what we do here at Peterson Automotive. The guys in the back, Tyler, Brian, and Redden, they're amazing. And they're skillful artisans that, you know, if you get a chance to work with them or even have your car worked on by them, you'll be amazed with what they can do.
So there is just a heap of parts on this table here. So my gosh, I can see, you know, a flywheel and the intake manifold and an air conditioning compressor and good Lord, all kinds of stuff there. What are those out of that same 900?
Yes, it was. Yeah. So that same 900 was just your typical 900 engine bay, and we got tasked to spruce it up and make it a lot better. So we disassembled everything. We polished what we could polish. We painted what we could paint. And there's pictures right there, a perfect picture that shows you how well the car turned out. And Jamie continuously cleans. I mean, he jokes around with how he has a little orbital buffer and buffs the outside of the car. And by golly, out by the engine bay, he pops that hood and he goes in and he cleans it. You could clearly eat off of that car.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So you guys also get into the internals on these gearboxes. That's a pretty special
We
thing.
do, yeah. So the same car had started having slight gearbox issues. And so we went ahead, and Tyler, who owns Peterson Automotive, and he's basically kind of our classic 900 and older kind of guru and genius here. He went and was tasked, and he tore apart that transmission. He rebuilt the transmission. He put it back together. Test drove the car. It still didn't seem quite right to him, so it got disassembled again and adjusted and made all the adjustments so it could be better than the transmission was ever brand new coming out of Trollhättan.
Wow. Beautiful. Hey, I see a comment here from Saab Unleashed. That's Stu over in the UK, and we're going to have him on in early February to talk about bringing Apple CarPlay, and Android Auto to your 9.3 and some other additions to your 9.5. So just a teaser that's coming
that's awesome.
down the road. Okay. So we've got a question here from Tyler asking, what is one of the hardest parts you have to source for your customers or yourself?
Oh, that's hard to say. I mean, things are getting a little tricky to find. There are parts for classic 900s that we just can't get new anymore. Our supply source of really good used parts are kind of dwindling. So classic 900 stuff, it is getting a little bit harder, but then on the complete opposite spectrum, we are also finding some difficulties with newer parts. NG95s, 94Xs is a really good example. A car that was made so few of, you can only imagine how much fewer parts there are. You know, thankfully we have Oreo, and Oreo is pumping out parts as much as they can, as quickly as they can, in order to keep these cars alive. But at the end of the day, we tend to sometimes even outsource for parts to other clientele or friends of ours who have large parts inventory in their own little confined spaces.
So let me pull you back into transmission discussion, because those of us with classic Saabs know that that's, a serious weak point in our cars. Here's some of the guts out of that one laying here on the table.
Yes.
What can I expect to pay to have a rebuild?
That ultimately is hard to answer, because it all depends on what the parts availability is at the time. And what I can get, and then it takes a lot of hours.
Yeah, well, I get that.
Honestly.
Okay, well, I'll let you off the hook on that one. Hey, I've got David Cliff here is asking.
I would have to reverse that question to our classic 900 guru and owner of Peterson Automotive. You really want to get more technical on that.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, like I said, I'll let you off the hook. So David Cliff asking, I've got a Saab 900S. Why does it run and shut off within minutes? Might need a little more description of the problem than that, but give it your best shot there, will you?
I'm going to take a wild guess here and say you have a fuel pump issue. That's causing that issue, but it's hard to say without fully diagnosing the car. Each car does something differently. They can all do how you describe that, but it could come down to being all sorts of numerous different things, and it's just hard to figure out what exactly could be the culprit to that issue.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's pretty thin information to try and make a diagnosis from. I get you on that one. So let's go back. I want to get back into this. So here's that 900 still in restoration. And look at the detail underneath here. This thing is beautiful.
Yeah. We went all out on it. I mean, as you could see from the pictures, it's spotless. As clean and beautiful it is on the outside, it is equally perfect on the underside and on the interior cabin of the car as well.
Okay,
So-
we've got the viewers doing their diagnosis and offering the solution on that 900S. So that's the power of the community. So you guys keep going, go right after it.
Yep.
Jump on in here, Mark.
I was going to ask, with all the types of pictures we're looking at, you say you do things underneath. I mean, how far do you guys go as far as restoring? I mean, do you take parts out, repaint them, and get rid of, grimy
We
stuff,
go,
maybe rust here?
We'll go as far as the client wants us to go.
Okay.
We can do full out, engine tear down, painting everything, powder coating everything, sending the cars out. We have a body shop that we use that's close to us. They do amazing work on these cars. And so we'll do engine and anything else. And then if it comes down to body work, we'll send those cars out to that body shop. Obviously, they do phenomenal work. And this car that we're picturing here has been at that body shop as well to get a few things done. So it just shows. And then this photo here, this is a 900 SVG that we recently serviced. Customer bought it recently, and we did the same thing. We did a full engine out, engine bay, engine detail, and just full detail. Everything got upgraded.
And I see this is a 9000 in the background. That looks like the engine out of that 9000, is it?
Yeah. So we had a project. I called it Project Black Sabbath, and it was a project that we. It was a customer. This was his 9000 Aero. He loved his 9000 so much. But as we all know with 9000s, the rear shock towers start rusting away, and the car just started to be less and less drivable on the roads. And so he wanted to keep his car going longer. So he found us another 9000 so we could swap everything over. And sadly, that 9000 wasn't any better than the one he was already in. And we had a client that just so happened he was selling his black over tan 9000. And we picked that up and then went to town and took 3 cars and made them into one car. That black 9000 was an automatic car, and it became a manual car from this Aero. And we swapped everything over, upgraded it, did a slight tune on it for the customer, and the car's on the road, and the customer is super happy with the car.
So I'm looking here at this set of louvers. What's the story behind this?
So this is it's an interesting story. I don't know how many people stay on SAABnet and follow SAABnet a lot, but it was a set of cars that were for free, actually, classic 900s that were free just north of us. And myself and a coworker of mine, I went to go look at the cars, and it was an SVG, an 84 flat nose, 8-valve turbo, and 2 other cars. So we rescued the cars. I took the 84 home, and I gave my coworker the SVG here, and those louvers came with the car, and he went ahead and he installed them recently onto the car.
Wow, that is a great find.
Yeah.
Did you tell me that somebody's
the other 900, the black one, as we keep talking about that one?
Yeah.
The louvers on that one, those are actually a bit more special, and that's because those are NOS louvers. The customer found a set brand new in the box, never been opened. Box was never opened. They were never installed. And we got the pleasure of installing brand new louvers onto his car, which was a real treat.
Oh, wow.
That is cool. Hey, that's pretty great. Yeah. Man, I'm seeing lots of good messages here, Ian. People love the work you guys do. That is for sure.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, it's a joy at the end of the day. If you don't love what you're doing, are you really doing the work that you're doing? It's, we have a passion behind here with these cars. And it shows in our workmanship and our craft and our clientele that keeps coming back, including our new clientele that come in. And it's just, everybody has a story. Every Saab has a story.
Yeah.
And we're just here to keep that story along and keep moving forward with it.
So after hearing all of the awesome things that you guys do for Saabs and your customers, and you've told us that people are coming in from out of state, let's say someone like me here in Virginia or someone in Indiana wants to ship their car over to you. How would one go about shipping a car out to you? Just out of curiosity, if you can just glance on that just for a moment, for those of us out of state.
So there's options. There's clients who drive their Saabs here, and they will leave it with us and go home. Luckily, I have a buddy who does towing, flatbed towing on the side. And that was the recent job where there's a picture of a SPG, a black SPG we recently serviced. And it was actually his towing rig. And so I've talked to him about it, and he's more than happy to travel and tow cars potentially for clients if they want to come here and have their car serviced here.
Oh, that's awesome.
What are you seeing in the market right now? Is there growing interest? I mean, I'm feeling it. I mean, look at Bring a Trailer and the crazy prices. That black 900 you guys have flipped around, and that thing, I can't imagine what that might bring on Bring a Trailer. But yeah, tell me what's happening in the Chicago area. People discovering Saabs?
They are. It's quite interesting. You know, we have people who walk away from Saabs, and then at the same time we have brand new customers and brand new people who always wanted a Saab or just discovered a Saab, or you know, they didn't know what a Saab was, and then someone they knew drove one and they drove it, and then they went out to buy one. So even though there's a lot of people out there that know Saab from when Saab existed, there's an equal share of people who are just now discovering how great these cars are. And we're seeing that coming in. You know, I love talking to people about their cars and their experiences, and it's just great hearing the stories. Saab is alive and well within our community, and it's growing every day.
That's awesome. I know from my perspective, when I first got my Saab, first car I ever owned with heated seats, first car I ever owned with self-leveling headlights, first car I ever owned with rain sense windshield wipers. I didn't know these things existed. I got a 2005 Chevy Colorado that I'm lucky I have cruise control on. I mean,
yeah,
just all the cool things, and plus it's a blasty blast to drive. Oh my God, I can nail that gas and go down the highway, and it's great.
Yeah, for the longest time, I've only owned classic 900s and classic Saabs, and so recently, like a year and a half ago, I purchased a 2010 9.3 Aero convertible, and that car has so many features I had no idea it had, and it's a 2010, and it just shocked me to think that Saab had the technology and everybody else was kind of behind them and trying to catch up and trying to keep up, and yet here Saab being the innovative brand that they were, and just giving the customer something so unique that nobody else on the road had at the time.
Yeah, we are working on an episode coming up, I think maybe even next week, but I'll keep you all posted on what were the firsts that Saab is noted for. So they were way ahead on a lot of things. We're going to focus an episode on exactly what those things were here coming up pretty soon.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that episode and every other episode that comes in after this one. I look forward to Thursday nights or the day after if I can't make it. I always look forward to seeing these episodes.
You said exactly the right thing. Way to go. Well, guys, we're at about 30 minutes. We like to keep these about at that length. So walk us out of here, Ian, with a thought that you want to leave the Saab community with. Is there any message you want to drop on them?
Yeah. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to ask questions. we're all here to help. We're all one big happy family. We all love the same thing, and that's these cars. And the best people to be in touch with and to have friends are the people who drive the same things as you do. Shops like this that are around the world are your biggest resource to keeping these cars alive. And there's people out there who are even bigger resources, people who, tinker and work on these things on their own. So at the end of the day, don't be afraid if there's a classic 900 or a 96, a 99, anything that you're not familiar with. Don't be afraid to get it and tackle the project, because at the end of the day, the biggest reward is putting your foot down and hearing that turbo spool up. I mean, it's a Saab at the end of the day. It puts a smile on your face no matter where you go, and the community is so good behind that. And we all love it.
Right on, brother.
I own now, and I can't see myself stopping anytime soon.
Well, you've got it when you own more than one, right? I mean, and most of us do. Most of us have more than one. It just kind of gets to you.
Yeah, and don't forget to join the club. I mean, that's ultimately the biggest thing. The club doesn't exist without you. Doesn't exist without the people. Go to SOC. It's the best time in your life. Join those smaller clubs. Make an impact. Go on drives. Show off your rides and just have fun.
That's a great place to leave it. Ian Cudney, thank you so much, from Peterson Automotive in the Chicago area. You can find them online. Give everybody your web address just one last time here.
So you could find us at Peterson Automotive. You could just Google that. It's Petersen. We are on Facebook. If you want to join, you can join the Chicago Saab Club on the Facebook page, and then people will direct you to us that way. Phones are open. More than happy to talk to people if they have any questions. And Saab on.
Saab on. You got it. Hey, Ian,
Saab
thank
on.
you so much.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
You bet.
Thanks, Ian.
You bet. Man, what a great ambassador for the brand. And that really does kind of embody what you and I talk about so much, Mark, and that is the cars are one thing, but it's the people in the community that really makes it happen here.
Absolutely. I gotta be honest, when I first got my first Saab back in 2017, if I didn't meet and interact with the community and the people who here in Central Virginia the way I did, I probably wouldn't have kept with it. But I have enjoyed Saab thoroughly. I've joined the people. It's been great, and it's just being able to have that camaraderie and then sharing, especially keeping our cars on the road, and the help from everyone. Oh, it's been amazing. It really has been.
Ditto all of that. All right, guys, we're going to run. We will see you next Thursday evening at 8 o'clock right here for another episode of Saab Talk Live. Mark, have yourself a great week.
Absolutely, Lee. See you then.
I tried as much as like
The technical stuff, I'm sure. Asking stupid shit over the.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to diagnose a car over the interweb.